If this news is true, this could be disastrous for the price of Bitcoin. We have two different headlines today talking about Tether and the problems that might be coming very, very soon. And this is not something to ignore. While it's too early to say for certain that it is guilty, you always have to hear these things and give them a little bit of attention and research before you can just move on. Today, we're going to talk about the Bitcoin price. We're going to talk about those headlines and some other things that potentially could be sending Bitcoin back down to the downside. But we're also going to talk about the positivity that remains in the space. Because despite the fact that these news sources have come out, and despite the fact that there's some overwhelming feeling that a correction is coming very soon, the price continues to hover right around $34,000. And so let's go ahead and jump on into those stories. Let's take a look at the charts, look at the good, look at the bad, and you guys decide for yourself what you think Bitcoin is about to do. But before we jump into the content, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe. If you love cryptocurrency, you love TA, you love news, you have found the right channel here at Investing Bros. Now, let's go ahead and start over here with a story that I saw yesterday. And it concerned me when I saw it. And there's not necessarily been overwhelming evidence to say this is true, but it's something you should be aware of. Now, the first thing is this chart, right? This account right here, WhaleWire, is leaned very much bearish here over the last couple of months. So you do need to know that they kind of have more of a bearish tone with almost all of their posts. However, I have not seen this account reach to make up details. So when they say something, it's definitely something that I at least have to entertain as being a possibility. He says here, all on-chain data shows that Bitcoin's price is being entirely influenced by leveraged paper Bitcoin derivatives collateralized by stablecoins that are being created out of thin air. Less than 2% of the volume represents actual investors buying, while 98% is from Tether and insiders. When this all eventually collapses, it will be a monumental event many aren't ready. All right, so again, did he present any evidence? No, he did not. He just made an accusation. Again, this is an account that doesn't usually make stuff up, so it makes me scratch my head. But it's not enough to make me concerned until I come over and see this post by Watcher.guru, another account that does not make things up. And this one, he has documents for what he is saying. Just in, U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, by the way, Cynthia Lummis has been a crypto supporter here for a while, so this is very shocking to see this come out. But Cynthia Lummis asked the Department of Justice to criminally charge Binance and Tether. Oh my goodness. More Binance FUD. Who would have thought? Who would have thought we got more Binance FUD? But now attaching Tether and someone who is pro-crypto saying that they need to be investigated or charged with criminal activity, that makes you begin to wonder, oh my goodness, is Tether, is Binance, are they actually involved in manipulation of price? Now, I don't have the evidence for that, but here's the thing. I don't need the evidence, and there doesn't need to be evidence for price to crash. If this takes its toll around the Twitterverse, if people actually begin to believe it, sentiment could continue to sour. And the fact that the government is still involved here, we've seen this happen several times within the last 2 years. That stories don't have to be true to FUD prices. They just have to have a little bit of bite to them. And with Senator Cynthia Lummis being involved here and asking for the charges to come, that could be a bite that happens. But that's not the only bearish story that is kind of FUDding Bitcoin right now. Going to be FUDding Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. Another report leaked yesterday morning is that Joe Biden is to reveal the leak that could spark Bitcoin prices, Washington Post reports. Now, that's a weird title right there because wouldn't you think when you read the word spark, that's maybe a positive connotation? When you read the article, that's not how it goes whatsoever. And I'm going to spare you a lot of the details, but this is what you need to know. A new leak suggests that President Joe Biden is gathering tech executives at the White House to unveil new regulation that Bloomberg believes will have a spillover effect on the crypto industry. Now, this article goes on to say that for the most part, the biggest concern that Joe Biden has is the AI world, and he wants to protect the people from it. Of course, they want to create strict regulation to do that, and it would be very harmful to the AI market. However, cryptocurrencies will also be making its way into that conversation, and if that is true, simply them just having the meeting, even if they don't pass a single bill, if reports come out that seem negative, that seem like strict regulation is coming to the United States for AI and crypto, that would have disastrous effects on the market as well. So, Tether, not sitting in a great spot today in the news. Crypto, not seeing a great spot today in the news. Strict regulation might be coming. Isn't this just about right? Just as we get something good, just as we get that bullish momentum we need to push over the hump, it's always followed by something bearish. It's always followed by something to water down the fire. However, how is price responding? Let's go take a look at the charts and let's see what it is saying. Now, there's a couple things that I'm continuing to watch for, and there's a new trend line I did see. I don't remember who I saw it on Twitter, so I wish I could give someone the credit for it, but there's a new trend line that has been developing here that I want you to keep your eye on. It's the one that goes all the way back to August of 2022, and it touches right here with the April high back on the 13th, and you will see as we kind of zoom on in here, if we were to come up and touch this trend line, which we have not done so yet, if we're going by the touching of the wicks. Like I could have touched candle body closes, but I went with wicks, and it marks something very close to what we have been talking about. It gets right up in here close to a level that I said, watch this Bart Simpson potential pattern as we're moving sideways, really struggling to get above 35,200. Watch it potentially make one good spike up to 36,000, closing the CME gap that we have formed all the way from back during the bear market, way back here in May of 2022. That does top out right there about 35,915. We just love round numbers. The markets love round numbers. 36 seems to be a good place to keep your eye on there. So watch for potential, a touch of that yellow line, that trend to still be in play. But again, with this negative news, if there's any truth to it, it could be really bad. But even if there's not truth to it, simply the rumblings around the world that the U.S. government might be criminally charging Binance and Tether, the fact that there's rumors out there that Tether is manipulating price, this is all things that absolutely could bring the price of Bitcoin spiraling back down. Where to, we've talked about that before. I still think that it's going to take a lot. Now, these are the types of stories that would do it, but it's going to take a lot, I think, to break $31,000. If we were to go back out to the daily chart, you will see that 31,000 is the top of not only the April, but a lot of the places where, with the exception of one day in July, the place where a lot of price got rejected over and over again here within the June and July months during kind of its own Bart Simpson pattern happening right there again, June, July. We had another Bart Simpson type pattern happening here in April. We could be seeing that type of a top. Clearly, this is not a blow-off top. If it was a blow-off top, we would have already rejected and come back down. But the fact that we've now been here for 4 days up here at the top makes me think that this is going to be a slow burn and a correction to the downside, not necessarily just a fast one. Now, the other thing that could happen is we could get some really bullish news. And then, even though we have kind of killed our bull pennant, you guys can see here, we talked about this the other day. This is an ascending triangle, but with it being attached to a nice little flagpole right here, this could have been a pretty good looking bull pennant that takes us up to 39,000. Well, that's not really how that one's going to go. Some are going to argue potentially you could make this into a flag and just kind of ignore some of these lower prices. I can go and draw that line for you. Just kind of, you can see here with the exception of a couple, actually most of the candle bodies close here on the hourly chart, but with the exception of a couple wicks here, we've kind of been using this 33,700 as nice support. Very possible that could continue to be the case. But realistically, I do think that this is kind of the end of the hype. There's going to be one more good push, maybe up here towards 36,000, but then those lower prices could be coming in. But let me know what you guys think. We didn't do a lot of in-depth technical analysis. I'm going to save that for the show this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you join us. Make sure you're always smashing that like button and hitting the subscribe button if you have not already. With that said, though, guys, that's all I have for you in this video. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this Tether news, about the Joe Biden news. Do you think Bitcoin is about to experience another dip, or is this simply FUD that once again is going to be ignored and prices are going to be soaring to new highs for the year? With that said, you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you this afternoon.